I want to give a big shout out to one Joel Edvinsson, who suggested the Canadiens come back out to Fix You by Coldplay, because man, why did they take it away in the first place? I'm not really too sure, but the first game back with this song as the entrance music, everybody loves to see it. Everybody was surprised to see this song go away. And you see what happens when you actually have it. Hey, Fix You by Coldplay. This song fixed the Habs. The Montreal Canadiens came out with probably one of the best games of the year they have played. Now I know they've had some good games against Detroit. The first win of the season was a good one, but this one here against the Nashville Predators in what is ultimately a 6-3 win for Montreal. My goodness, you just saw a lot of good out of this Canadiens team and their gameplay. Sure, maybe the discipline, the refereeing, the penalties and that stuff, especially in the third, it's pretty meh. Not really what you want to see over there, but for all intents and purposes, this was a good game for the Montreal Canadiens. As you know, 6 points, we already said it over here. And when you talk about who was out there doing damage and getting production in this one, a lot of these guys, dude. A lot of these guys are the guys that you wanted to see more out of earlier on in the season. And just seeing this game where it all pays off for them, that's why we watch sports, man. This is the vindication. This is the redemption of some of these players over here. And as you know, we're talking about two in particular today, Ryan Poehling and Tyler Toffoli, because both of these guys kicked off the 21-22 season in a way that you probably would say you didn't really like to see. Like, I know Toffoli got a whole bunch of points earlier on in that point streak he had at the start of November, but Tyler Toffoli went cold for a little bit. It was just over a week where he didn't score any points against the Red Wings, the Bruins, the Rangers, nor the Penguins. So, going out there and seeing Tyler Toffoli get another 3-point game, his first on the year in this one, it was absolutely spectacular. And everything that Tyler Toffoli did on the goals that he was involved in, man, what brilliant plays he was doing out there. The first point for Toffoli was the Brendan Gallagher power play goal in the second period. This was a great power play. They cycled it around like crazy, and it only took a few seconds before it was potted out in front. Drouin to Gallagher. What an absolutely elegant cycling play the Habs did on this one, which resulted in the Gallagher marker with Toffoli and Drouin getting the assists. Like, it's been a while since we've seen the Montreal power play actually look that good. But hey, they looked that good. Tyler Toffoli then got himself the primary assist on Ryan Poehling's second goal of the night, that in which we'll talk about later, and Toffoli also got the empty netter set up by Nick Suzuki. The Nashville Predators just couldn't keep up. And I know they got themselves a hat-trick out of Matt Duchene, which is significantly pleasing to the Hockey Ultimate Team community. Yeah, if you play NHL 22 Hockey Ultimate Team and you have Matt Duchene's fantasy hockey card, then it's been going up a lot because the guy just cannot stop scoring goals. It's almost like he's perfectly aware of all the hype and he's really living up to that expectation. So good on him for getting a hat trick, but still, the guy was -3. The Montreal Canadiens went out there and simultaneously worsened yet improved his statistical profile. Of course, the hat trick and the minuses kind of contradict each other in that way, but still. The Canadiens went out there with a performance out of Tyler Toffoli that you love to see. He is now up to a grand total on the season of 12 points in 20 games played, so he has cracked the half a point a game mark. He is on pace for just over 41 points. So, good on him. He wasn't here earlier in the season, and the stretch where he didn't score any points against all those teams kind of significantly hit his production pace on the season, so it's good to see him going out there getting a game like this. And then for Ryan Poehling, dude, he came into this game with 1 point in the 5 games played that he had, and there was a reason the Montreal Canadiens went out there and sent Adam Brooks down on waivers, because guys like Pizzetta and because guys like Ryan Poehling were actually coming up here and pulling their weight. They were showing off that, yeah, they can tango at the NHL level. Ryan Poehling had a tough time breaking into the season in the previous few years, and it kind of held him back in a way when it came to deployment and development, because he had that hat trick in his first NHL game against the Toronto Maple Leafs and the shootout winner, which kind of set his expectations to an extraordinarily high level, that in which I don't believe was ever realistic, and he was never able to live up to those standards in the next few years. 2019-20 saw him get 2 points in 27 games with the Canadiens. He got sent down to Laval, wasn't really amazing there. He wasn't getting a hat-trick a game like he did in his 2018-19 pace. 2020-2021 was a little bit better. He was under a point per game in the AHL, and now this season, he didn't really kick off the year with a great start. It's why he got sent back down to Laval. We were looking forward to seeing Ryan Poehling taking over a spot on the lineup full-time, maybe give the Canadiens a reason to not go out there and get another center, but he wasn't ready. Now, after 7 games in Laval and after sticking around with the Canadiens a few more games, he's been looking really good the past few games. So, seeing him go out there with the 2-goal performance in the second period, absolutely deserved right here, and you could just see the elation on the guy's face when it was pulled off. The first goal that Poehling scored, assisted by Wideman and Lehkonen, it's just an absolute laser of a wrister from inside the faceoff circle. A lot of the Canadiens' goals, if you've been noticing this year, the patterns, a lot of their goals are scored either right in the slot or they're really nice passing plays that end up in the front of the net where the guy has an open cage to shoot at and he scores. The Canadiens haven't really gotten too many goals where it's just an absolute ripper, where it's a little bit longer range and it's just an absolutely pinpoint accurate snipe. Ryan Poehling gets 2 of those here. As the first goal, he walks in, he leans, he shoots it, and he scores it. Very nice right there. And then the second goal, just a few seconds later, give it, 27 seconds or something? It's Ryan Poehling again. Wideman dumps it into the zone. Tyler Toffoli collects it at the blue line. Ryan Poehling follows the play up, and he just slaps the puck on goal. That's it. It rips by UC Saros over here. And you could see the guy's reaction. He was like, okay, are you serious? Come on, guys. Like, why did nobody track Ryan Poehling as he came down the middle right towards the puck? That's kind of what I was inferring when watching UC Saros and the way that he reacted to that goal over there. But Poehling, 2 very nice snipes right there. Long-range goals, back-to-back, 20-something seconds apart. And now he's up to 3 goals on the season in 6 games played. He's got 3 points. He doesn't have any assists, so he's going to probably have to do that soon. But he's been playing pretty well either way. So it's nice to see him getting on the board and rewarded for his efforts. You could just see the smile when the guy came back out on the ice for, I believe it was the 3 stars. You could see it, man. He was super excited, super happy. You could tell how much this meant to him to get a game like this back on the board. Sure, it's no debut game where he gets a hat trick and a shootout winner, but for what the Canadiens are and what his seasons have been like in the past few years, this is kind of the next best thing, isn't it? So my biggest question for you is, where do the Canadiens go from here? They're likely not going to make the playoffs because it's so far away, and the point percentage that they're going to need to go out there and catch that race, it's really big. I'm not really too sure if the Canadiens have it in them, but of course if they did, then I wouldn't be too opposed to that. I'd like to see them make the playoffs again. But individually for these players, let me know what's next, For Tyler Toffoli, have you been noticing the improvements in his game the past few games? He had that point streak at the beginning of November, but he went cold after that. So is this the start? Is this 3-point game the indicator that he's going back out there on the board, getting some more production? Or was this a one-off game? I thought personally he looked so good, and the plays that the Canadiens in general were making were so fantastic that I would be surprised if anybody regressed heavily immediately, because, as we said, dude, Coldplay, Fix You, for some reason, it just got the Canadiens making some fantastic passing plays. All the other goals they scored looked fantastic, too. The Anderson to Dvorak one in front, one of the most beautiful plays that we have seen this season. The patience on Josh Anderson, man. This is a different team compared to what we saw. I just hope it's not a one-off, and I hope that a lot of the guys in that locker room realize that what we saw against Nashville yesterday, that's the standard that we know this Canadiens team is capable of. Were they perfect? No. Matt Duchene getting a hat trick kind of cements that, but still, for what we saw, it was great. For Ryan Poehling as well, let me know in the comments if you think this is the revival, The guy is 22 years old, so he's got a lot of time left to become an NHL star. Or not even star, but just like a serviceable player in the middle 6, which you could debate he kind of is right now, but his development path has been so all over the place that just seeing a game like this, to me, it's something that you definitely want to see. But his efforts have been great recently. He's getting rewarded for it in this game over here, and I just kind of hope that the best is yet to come. So, talk to me in the comments what do you think about Toffoli and Ryan Poehling. Hope you enjoyed this. With Rolls 9, and bye.